wait and watch till 4 o'clock. Luckily, the fuel arrived, and we were able to launch the first aircraft. And when he approached Select, there was thick fog there. So he tried to make an attempt to land at the helipad, but at the last moment he had to abandon the thing because he could not see the helipad right till 50 feet off the ground. To the right side there was thicker fog, and to the left side he could see the highway. So he turned left. Unfortunately, he flew right over the machine gun post, exposed his belly completely, and it was badly hit in the belly. Four Jawans were very seriously injured. I think there was one officer also, and there was mayhem in the helicopter. So he flew back quickly and so that they can receive the medical assistance. And later on, we learned that two of them had expired, and two had recovered. We had to now wait till for the fog to lift. In the meanwhile, all helicopters were ready, but waiting for the airlift, that was till about 10 o'clock in the morning we started, and by evening we finished the whole um, airlift of the battalion. Next morning, we were asked to go to Agartala. Since there was no task that day, we started repairing the helicopters and carry out maintenance. Around about 12 o'clock, General Sardar Singh came to me, and he wanted a sortie to be conducted, airlift sortie to be conducted, and he said, "I will show you the landing ground. In the meanwhile, I told him that we'll get the helicopters ready." So we took off and we were heading towards Dhaka. As we crossed Meghna River, I looked to the right and I saw that one span of the bridge had fallen. So he kept quiet for a while. Then he said, "Let's turn around." He wanted to go down and have a closer look at the fallen span. After spending some time there, around about 50 feet, we climbed about 200 to 300 feet, and we were coming back along the road when a full burst of bullets hit the helicopter. The co-pilot got two bullets into him. All others got minor injuries from the splinters. There was total silence when we came all the way. On landing, we found that there were about 39 bullet holes in the aircraft, and one bullet was very close to the tail rotor spindle, just about half an inch away from it. And had he applied little bit of rudder also, I, I think we would have lost control of the aircraft. But we were very lucky. We landed, and around about 4 o'clock, Sagar Singh again came to me and he said that the heli lift, if he could do it at that time. So I said, "Certainly, sir. But I have not seen the landing ground." So he said, "Don't worry, I have an aero pilot who will take you around." That was General Sahota, and he will lead your formation, and you can comfortably go and land there. So after sunset, we took off. It was partly dark, and he was leading, so we followed him. He showed us the ground. We landed there. It was a very soft ground, so the helicopter had maybe landed fully. Perhaps would have got bogged down. So we kept our power on, and with the result that the rotor's downwash was affecting the soldiers who were trying to get down. So they had a problem. The second sortie was completely at night. It was completely dark night, so we had a problem in landing. We had to feel for the ground, and it was fairly difficult. So we, at that time, decided to wait for the moon to come up, which was around about 11:30. So the last few shuttles we did after 11:30, and the task was completed by 1 o'clock. The next day, that is on 10th, there was no action in the morning, but in the evening, I was told that we had to lift a brigade, full brigade, and an RT element the next day. Again, the flying time was about 20 minutes, so I found that it would be very difficult because we had to come frequently for refueling. By then, of course, Brahmanbari was under our control. So I suggested that why don't we go to Brahmanbari and operate from there? And the flying time would be just about 12 to 13 minutes time. And we could put in more sorties. This was agreed to, so we spent the night there. And early next morning, we started again. While loading and when I started my helicopter, unfortunately, one Jawan walked into my tail rotor and killed himself. But I was never informed about it because tail rotor is made of wood and it could have got damaged. Fortunately, unfortunately, nobody informed me. And fortunately, the tail rotor was not damaged. Anyway, we carried on with the airlift the whole day. We landed at Narsingdi the first time. The village was slightly higher on a higher ground, and we saw villagers from there cheering us and waving at us. And moment we landed, they all came in, and I think at least about 500 of them landed up around us. Uh, they helped us in offloading also, and they were really very cheerful. Anyway, we got back. We flew right till night that day. Did more than 110 sorties, and task was still not complete. So next morning again we had to do another 40 or 50 sorties before the whole brigade and the RT element was airlifted. After that, we did two more heli lifts on the next 2 days before the surrender was ordered. Throughout the operation, I think the ground crew performed extremely well. The aircraft were they gave us no trouble. Though we did have three forced landings, but the aircraft were recovered within 2 hours. One was there was a ingress of grass into the engine and that caught fire. The pilot saw the smoke, so he landed as a precautionary measure. Second was a gearbox failure when the aircraft was very close to the base for it was going back for servicing. So that too was recovered within about 4 or 5 hours. And third forced landing was when the aircraft was on the way to Sylhet at night. He also had to force land because of engine trouble, but that aircraft was again recovered in 2 hours. The air crew performed admirably. They stuck to this program very nicely. There was no problem, hassle whatsoever. And aircraft, of course, they did not let us down anywhere. We were awarded two VRCs and one mention in dispatches. And so later on, we got the president colors, which is given to a unit that performs exceptionally well for the country. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Organizers, may I please have that slide now? Our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is Lieutenant General S.S. Mehta, and hopefully before that we'll be able to see the slide that that I had put up. And there it is on the screen, just to give you a sense of the size of the Meghna. You can see on the top two slides show the kind of rivers that you're used to seeing, whether it's in the Punjab or even in Europe. And the two slides at the bottom are of the river Meghna, and you kindly do notice the difference in the widths of these rivers. I mean, the Meghna, as I mentioned, was anything between 5 to 15 kilometers, as opposed to 200 to 400 meters width of the average river. Our next speaker, General Mehta, he led the only tank column to reach Dhaka on the 16th of December during the war and had the honor of being mentioned in dispatches. Sir, I'd be very grateful if you could kindly talk about the lessons learned and the larger strategic implications of these events and their importance and relevance for the present. Over to you, sir. General Mehta, sir?
No, I can hear you. Can you?
I can hear you now, sir. Please go ahead. Yes, sir.
Rana, thank you very much. I think we are running out on time as I see the clock. So I'll be very brief. Number one. Number two, Pune suffers two problems. One is Corona, which the world is suffering, and the second is spectrum. So I'll be on and off, but since my talking will not be more than 10 minutes, so please bear with me if you see me on and off a couple of times, because I know the spectrum is bad, and I've been missing much talking that has taken place. The critical reason why we are meeting today is because of the 50th, the starting of the 50th year of the liberation of Bangladesh. The speakers before me have enunciated in great detail how things happened between Agartala and Dhaka. So I'm not going to repeat them. But why should we remember this day? Why is it Vijay Divas? And what should the millennials take away from this and think about it, research about it, read about it in the context of what I'm going to say now? In the history of warfare,
Yeah.
So this must be internet connection.
Can you give me the water, please?
No, it's his side is bad somewhere.
Organizers, can we do anything about getting the general back, or is it from his side? I think he's logging in again.
I can switch off the cam
General Mehta, sir, can you hear me?
and only be on audio. Can you hear me now? I can see you.
Please go ahead, sir. Please go ahead, sir. May I suggest you switch off your video, sir, if you're having bandwidth problems, and just we'll continue with the audio. If the organizers can please switch off the general's video, can you do that? These are some of the perils of technology, unfortunately.
Can you hear me now?
Sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Please go ahead.
You can? All right.
I can hear you.
I want to emphasize 4 points which I want. Can you hear me? Can you? No, you can't.
I can hear you, sir. Go ahead.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. But it's intermittent.
Our audience, I want you to carry 4 points which are most critical. First, it is intermittent. Somebody can join the dots and cross the T's. The first point that I want each one of us to remember is that the 1971 victory was a victory of democracy over military rule. Our neighbors had never understood that. When democracy gets its act together, military rules no chance. if people across the fence are hearing, they better blow it up on the trumpet and talk of it once every day and twice on Sundays. Because when democracies get together, it's the people of the country, the government in power.
Lost him.
Sir, I'm afraid we've lost you again.
So I think if I can only be on audio, I'll
Sure.
speak on a mobile if they can blow it up.
That's right, sir. Please go ahead.
If they do that. Okay, I'll just get onto my mobile and they can stream it through. Just a
Yes.
minute.
Hearing you strength 5 now, sir. Please continue talking.
Can you
Yes,
hear me?
sir.
All right. First one, as I said, was
So
victory
please
of-
keep your video off, I would suggest.
Second, it's very, very important. It was a victory of humanism over barbarism. Can't get it off, ask the organizers to do it. I'm trying, but I can't.
It's just about to end.
Can the organizers cut it off? Can the organizers cut it off? No, they can't.
Go ahead, sir. Please, we'll continue for as long as we can hear you at the moment, so that's okay.
The second is the victory of humanism over barbarism. The third, and this is important for
General Mehta, sir, I think there's a problem. We're not able to hear you. So I think we're approaching the end of our allotted time as well, sir. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've lost connectivity with General Mehta, which is a huge pity. But these are some of the perils of living in the COVID age. But I'm actually very thankful that at least the connection held, and we were able to listen to 3 of our 4 panelists, and it has truly been a fascinating experience. I've learned so much, and I could actually spend a couple of hours sitting with each of them, and particularly if Major Chandrakant will share his tonic that he imbibes to keep himself youthful and energetic, that would be wonderful. Before I close the session, I would like to express my grateful thanks on behalf of our audience and the organizers to our distinguished panelists. Through them, we honor not just those who fought, but also those who died in the line of duty. And this is a debt of gratitude that I urge all of us who are listening and the country at large always to remember. I'd also like to express my gratitude to the organizers, in particular to General Shergill and, of course, to Mandeep Bajwa for having given me the opportunity to chair this session and to allow it to be dedicated to the 150th anniversary of the USI. And lastly, a big thank you to our audience for taking the time to join us and be a part of this conversation today. And throughout this year, we will be having many more such interactions with our distinguished veterans. So I look forward to future interactions on the subject. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. And over to the organizers, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Kenya.